Hi, and welcome to 30 Days of Brave Thinking. I'm Mary Morrissey, and today I'm offering you a gift that will help you stay calm, help you discover that even during very, very turbulent times, you have a power in you that you can actually call upon, and instead of being taken down by a difficult time, you can actually find a way to have this be one of the most empowering times of your life. So it's completely free. It's the fruit of many, many years of study of transformation, and I'm giving it to you. For 40 years, my mission has been in helping people, empowering people, and training people in how to have a mindset that's a match to the results they want to have in their lives, how to move results from one set of results to another set of results that are more empowering, more life-giving, more fruitful for them, for their families, for their workplace, and literally for our world. And it works. I've been working with this for my entire life, helping tens of thousands of people all over the world, and especially in difficult moments like this one. I believe that the right thing to do is give everything I can give you completely free here. And in 30 days, you can establish a set point, a mindset point, and a way of understanding how you can use even the most difficult times in your life to actually help you catapult your life forward. Not because so much of the difficult time or in spite of it, but because of how you went through the difficult time. And if you just keep breathing, you're going to create results anyway. And since we're in this difficult time, why not use it to the benefit of you, your dreams, the impact you can bring, and the difference you can offer? So I'm happy to make this offer to you. It's completely free. So to support you today, I'm going to share with you a short video clip from my signature 3-day event, DreamBuilder Live. During that event, people come from all over the world, hundreds of people, to learn how to face their challenging circumstances, release feelings of fear and doubt and worry, and have real skill sets in how to apply the invisible spiritual laws that govern all our results and use the application of those in service of creating results in a life they absolutely love living. So yes, we're facing some difficult times. So let's pull upon this training for each one of us to help us use this time in a truly constructive way. I hope you enjoy this clip. So before we begin, take a deep breath. Take another one. Bring yourself into the present moment. Stay inside this day and inside this present moment. Make sure your notifications, your pings and dings that might come to you through your technology are shut off. So much coming at us. Let's take some moments now and turn to what's seeking to emerge to us and through us.
There was a woman named Dorothy who was born in 1918. She grew up, of course, during the Depression. When she was just barely 4, she had a sister who was 18 months. She had a new baby brother who was 4 days old, and her mother died. They lived in Montana. The mother died. She had been a school teacher from Kentucky, met a farmer there. They got married. Quickly, they had 3 little children. She got pneumonia at the birth of her 3rd child, and she died suddenly. So the father with these 3 little kids got on a train and went to the Northwest, where his mother, who was a widow, said, "I'll help you raise your children." And he became a barber. And they lived a very, very poor upbringing. Her shoes had holes in them. She had one dress. She would later tell me she had one dress that she wore every day to school when they didn't have uniforms, and one dress that she wore to the church meetings. And her grandmother was a very staunch Baptist person, so they went Wednesday nights, they went Sunday mornings, and they went back Sunday nights. And she had the dress that she wore to church and the dress that she wore, and that was her wardrobe. So there was Dorothy, her younger sister Margaret, and the younger brother Bob. When Margaret was 14, she got sick on Good Friday, and on Sunday morning, Easter Sunday, she died with appendicitis. Dorothy was 16. When Dorothy was 20, she was invited to go on a blind date with a friend of hers, who, and by then Dorothy had learned to be a stenographer, and she had a job paying 37 cents an hour in those days. And her friend had a guy that she liked, but he didn't have a car, but he had a friend that had a car, and he would drive to this dance at the Grange they wanted to go to if she could find a friend to go with the friend who had the car. So That was how she got invited to this blind date, where she went, happened to be my father who took her out, and they went to the Kitten Grange in the Portland, Oregon area, way out in the country in those days. And Dorothy wore a dress that had buttons that went from the neck all the way down to the dress, and it was a midi dress down to here. And they danced, and those dresses were all tied together with one strand. And during the Big Apple dance, the strand popped and all the buttons opened up. She was so horrified. But my dad had a overcoat in the trunk of his car, and so she put the overcoat on. When he delivered her at home and she came in and her grandmother saw her dress, the grandmother said to Dorothy, "Well, I guess you had a good time." And they dated for a year and a half, and they got married in 1939. In 1942, well, my sister was born in 41, in July, before Pearl Harbor. And then my grandfather died. So Dorothy is 23 years old. She's lost her mother, her sister, and her dad now. But she has the love of her life. She has a new baby daughter. And then he gets sent off to war. She would tell me that she was so insecure when they first got together. My dad loved people. He loved having people around. And Dorothy was so insecure that she did not want him to bring any friends to their house because she would have to walk in front of the friends to be able to serve them coffee, and she just didn't want anybody to put their focus on her. She was so insecure. But in my dad's love, she grew, and she grew more self-esteem and more willingness to be outgoing, grew in her work in the world, and 8 years after her first child, I was born. And life goes on, and all the stories I've told you about. My mom and dad were best friends and lovers their entire life. And then in their 80s, my dad developed early stage dementia. And at the time they were just about to turn 85, my dad passed away. I remember going to visit. My mom just could no longer take care of him, and so we found this wonderful place where he would stay, and we'd go visit all the time. I went to visit him, one of the latter times I went to visit him, and I walked in and I said, "Hi, Dad," and he goes, "I know who you are. You're the one I held when you were brand new." Couldn't say my name, but he knew who I was, you know. And then he fell, and he died. And there was about a 6-week period there of passing. When he was dying, and we were having him at home and doing those moments together, all of a sudden I looked around and my mom was not there, and I found her huddled in the corner of their bedroom, sobbing. I sat down on the floor, I said, "Oh, Mom," and she goes, "I feel like half my body's being cut off. How will I ever find my way after he's gone?" And he passed away. And the next 6 months, she was really in a deep, dark depression. John mentioned that they had her come to Cabo, and even the sun didn't brighten her up very much. But she did better having the kids around her and having them around her. Came back, and then so about 6 months later, Matt and I were spending time with her, and we're all trying to keep her somewhat busy, but it's an inside-out job. I mean, nobody can grieve for her. It's her. So about 6 months after my dad's gone, she called me one day, and this is exactly her tone of voice at this moment. She goes, "Well, I've been thinking, and I guess if I'm still breathing, there's something I should be doing. Let me try that DreamBuilder thing you do." She'd attended my work, she'd been around my work, but she had never once been in my work at all. It was fine, she was not interested. "Let me try that DreamBuilder thing you do." And so we began. And it just began with questions. She had no dreams. Her dream was be gone right now and go be with Jack. But since that's not happening and you are breathing, is there anything? It took some time, several conversations, for her to tap into something that she had thought about over time, which was maybe someday I might learn to see if I have any artistic talent and learn how to paint on china, on bone china, plates, knickknacks, whatever. Maybe I could do that. And I said, well, when you think of doing that, and let's imagine, what if you are good? Would you love that? Would you love that? She says, well, if I found out I was good, but I've got to do something. And so I said, and if you were going to do that, what would be the next step you could take? Well, I guess I'd look to see if there's any lessons. And that's how it began. Dorothy's 85 years old. And so she begins to look for a place to take lessons. She starts taking lessons. And then she called me one day and she says, well, guess what I did? So I don't know, what did you do? And she says, I took down all the pictures in the living room and in the bedroom. Because all those pictures are pictures your dad and I hung. And they all remind me of a life I can't have anymore. And I was in the pharmacy, and I saw this little postcard of an open door. I think it's probably someplace from France or Italy, and kind of an old door, but it was open. And I thought, that's what I need to do. I keep looking at all the closed doors. And I took all the pictures down, and I thumbtacked that postcard up on the wall, so I could remember to look for open doors. And that led her to find pictures and posters and all kinds of things, and she decorated those 2 rooms with open doors. And she began to paint. And guess what? Dorothy was good at painting. And pretty soon her teacher noticed, and then that would lead to her being invited to have a couple of pieces in a gallery, and that would lead to not only her making gifts for the family, but having her own one-woman show in a gallery in Portland, Oregon, and that would spread around the Northwest. That began when she was 85. By the time she was approaching 90, Dorothy said, so what am I going to do to, 90? What am I going to do for 90? And then she had Dorothy was interested in things. She was interested in sports and politics and history and all kinds of things. And so she had gone to attend a lecture by 𝗵𝗫𝘃𝗧, who had sort of the Grameen Bank microlending. And an idea came to Dorothy because my dad had gone to World War II. She was, from 18 months. Had a little girl to raise, had to produce and provide, and it was a struggle. Then he came back, I'm born, and again, then he's off to Korea. And again, this time it's 2 years. And she's again produce, provide, take care of 2 little kids now. And she thought about the men and women whose spouses had been either injured or killed in the Iraq or Afghanistan wars. And she decided to start this micro-lending nonprofit for anybody in the Northwest whose spouses had either been injured or killed in those 2 wars. And either male or female spouse could apply for a microloan to begin their own work that they could do from home to be able to provide for their family. And she wanted to do that, and she had no idea how to do that, and so she decided to write a book to help fund this new project. And Dorothy had a habit that her grandmother had taught her. I mean, things were tough. They had little money. She had 2 dresses growing up. But they had something else. Her grandmother believed that no day is complete until you put a zip in the day, meaning that you put something in that day that is different than you've ever done before, something that puts an uplift in your day, like putting your oatmeal in a china bowl and having it for dinner, and having pancakes for dinner, or driving a different way home, and so Dorothy took, and this was in my upbringing. I mean, I can remember coming home when we had little money in some areas, and I'm coming home from her picking me up at grade school. Ultimately, she would work, and that's why she didn't pick me up anymore. But I remember one day where she picks me up, and I get in the car, and I'm in the back seat, and she's driving. She goes, "Oh my gosh, there's something wrong with the car. There's something wrong with the car," and it pulled right into Dairy Queen. There was always some way of putting a zip in the day. And she wrote a book called Putting a Zip in Your Day. 90 ways, her favorite ways, 90 ways to put a zip in the day. And Dorothy, this was Dorothy on her 90th birthday. A green, growing human becoming who leaned into life by looking for open doors. This is one of her pieces that she gave me, 𝗕𝗿𝘃𝗧. She designed them, Dorothy. In 2002 and 3, when everything fell apart for me, and it was such a tough time for me, my mother painted me a piece. Hang in there, Mary. That hangs on the wall in my office, of course. Dorothy came to spend a week at our house in 2010. We were doing our women's retreat. In those days, my friend and colleague, 𝗕𝗍𝘀, we did 30 years of women's retreats throughout the years of ministry and subsequent to that. And so we were doing a women's retreat with 𝗕𝗏𝘃𝗃 in Palm Springs. Had a couple of hundred women coming, and my mother was coming for that weekend and then to come to spend the week with us and stay through Mother's Day the following Sunday. So on Saturday night, we had a tradition in the women's retreat that we would do what we called the Wise Women's Council. And we would take the most elder of the women in that group, bring them to the stage. All the women pull their chairs close, and whatever question you wanted to ask the wise one, you could ask. These women had lived decades beyond most of us and had life experience. And so, they would ask big questions like, how do you know when you should stay or you should go ahead and go in a marriage? How do you know that? Question after question after question. Does sex still feel good after 80? And so the final question that night, and these were three, there were four women on that stage. My mother on the left, 𝗕𝗏𝘃𝗃 mom in the middle, Doris, and Millie Swanson on the right, and this woman, also Marion Woodman, who religious science minister from Palm Springs. So the question first went to 𝗕𝗏𝘃𝗃's mom. This was the last question, so at your age, would you love to get married again? And Doris said, get married? No, I made a CD a couple of years ago. I think I'd rather make a new CD than get married. To my mother, would you like to get married again? Well, I don't want to be anybody's nursemaid. But if there was somebody who was interested and interesting and would go to lectures or movies or plays or watch sports, it'd be fun to have a companion. Asked Doris Woodman, would you like to get married again? She was 87 years young. Get married again? She said, no, but a little loose living, that'd be good. So why do I take time to tell you this? Life is no respecter of age. As long as you're breathing, life is sending signals to you. More life, more life, more life. But if you go, oh, I'm too old, time's passed, and you just turn it down, you might keep breathing, but it won't really be a life. You'll just be waiting. For what? Life is sending you signals. I applaud every one of you who are in this room. Whatever age we are, life is sending us signals. Dorothy's book, Put a Zip in Your Day. This is Dorothy's lunch at that retreat with me. We came home from the retreat. On Wednesday morning, I got up, and she was sitting up in a chair, and I could tell I said, what's going on? And she said, it hurts with every breath I take. She'd had a major heart attack. We got her to the hospital. They wanted to do open heart surgery. She was so used to just whatever the person in the white coat said she should do. She was raised with that. A wonderful, wonderful doctor that we go to, an integrative doctor, and he told me, you can at least let her know she has a choice. And I said to her, so this is what that path, you always said you never wanted to get trapped on a ventilator. You will be on a ventilator for a while with this surgery. You just look at, I'll be here, I have this month off. I can stay and support you the whole time. We're going to be fine if you want to do this. And then she said, give me 20 minutes. And this is on Thursday, and she said, when I came back, she says, listen, even if they fix my heart, it's not going to fix my body. I'm 92, it hurts all the time. I don't talk about it. Who wants to hear an old woman complain about her body aches? But even just I live alone, and I want to live with people, and just getting the garbage out and up the hill and everything is work, Mary. She said, would you be willing to let me go? Or no, she said, are you ready to let me go? I said, well, I don't know if I'll ever be ready, but if this is what you want, I'll help you. I'll help you. And so we had hospice come in to help her, and she says, and guess what? If I can get out of here before Saturday, you will never have my death day be on Mother's Day in your life. Who thinks this way? The woman who had a mother who was never there for her on Mother's Day. She died at 11:39 on Friday night. She got out just in time to have her wish. It was funny because when she said to me, if I can get out here, my death date will never be on Mother's Day, and then I'll be with my family, my mother, on Mother's Day. And the little girl in me, wait a minute, you're supposed to want to be with me on Mother's Day. I overrode that, but I could feel it in me still. Green, growing, human, becoming. And the last thing she said was, when I got here, this is St. John's Hospital, Mary. My dad's name was John. And look at the room. She said, look at the room they put me in and look at the picture. There's one picture on the wall. It was an open door. She said, I knew when I got here. So she passed. Green, growing, human, becoming. A couple of years later, I was speaking in Seattle, and a couple came. Many people came that night and stood in line to talk to me, but this couple came up to me. They looked to me like they were in their late 70s or 80s, and this is almost 10 years ago. And they said, thank me for the talk, this or that. And then they said, well, we have your mother to thank for our new dining room table. I said, excuse me? I said, we bought her book, 90 Ways to Put a Zip in the Day. And we decided we're going to do every one of them. And we did do it on the dining table, and we had to get a new dining table. That was Dorothy. So wherever you are and whatever the qualifiers you put in front of yourself, I'm too old, I'm too young. When I lose weight, when I gain weight, when and if. Life is not waiting for that. There's something beautiful that you're here for. It's this thing called life. It's sending you signals, unique signals to you, as unique as your thumbprint.
Okay, let's take another deep breath here as we come to the end of this video. I hope this clip served you today. And if you know anyone that is going through tough times or anyone who could benefit from this, go ahead and help them. This is all free. Go ahead and help them. Invite them. Share the video with them. And rather than spreading fear and contraction and panic, let's each instead be a part of what lifts us up. Let's give what we can give. Let's spread hope. Let's spread compassion. Let's spread peace and calm, health and love. And so here we are today. You have many choices about where you spent your time. I'm grateful you were here, and I hope for you that you, as people come to mind, that you help them with what you can in the ways that you can only do that. And also, if this is helpful to you, go ahead and share it. It's free for me, and I'm happy to give it away. So becoming a brave thinker, and staying in these higher levels of vibration, we actually become part of the solution instead of part of the problem. It's easy to have the ain't it awful conversation. But as a brave thinker, you're turning now to a different way of being, even in very difficult times. And it makes all the difference. And now, if you would love even more support in embodying brave thinking in these challenging times, I have a gift for you. Click below, and you're going to have an opportunity to receive from me 30 days of daily videos from me for 30 days, helping you stay in a mindset of uplifting thoughts, choosing that day what you can do. I will give you a 5-minute personalized video for you for that specific day of this 30-day program in learning how to establish a set point in your normal thought pattern of being a brave thinker instead of dealing with everything coming at you. You will get through this time, but who you become at the end of this and what your conditions are and whether you've grown to this time or just barely gritted your teeth to get through it will have everything to do with your thinking. So my gift to you is 30 days of training. It just takes 5 minutes in the morning. You're going to have a mindset on anyway. You don't get to not think. Why not think from a vibration that actually takes you where you want to go instead of just barely getting by and reacting to the circumstances we have? So for the next 30 days, I'll send you a 3 to 5 minute video, simple, highly effective steps that you can apply that day to making that day the best day you can have, even in the midst of difficult times. There's no sales pitch in this. There's no hook. It's just a gift from me. And I'm happy to do it at this time particularly. So it's something I've been helping clients with for many, many decades. And I'm just giving it away now. So I'm happy to do that, and I hope you will avail yourself of it. And then if you want to give it to somebody else, feel free to do that right now. That's what we're doing. So, and you can leave any question you want in the comment section below. So I love hearing from you. Did you enjoy this? What helped you? What would you like more of? How you doing right now? What else can I help you with? So until tomorrow, feel a big, big hug from Mary Morrissey.